Let me explain to you what we're going to do over the next couple of months. In a science fair, you need to come up with a question that you want to have the answer to. Now, with a science fair, it's a little bit different because your question has to be answered based upon a step-by-step process called the scientific method. Now, why do we have to use the scientific method? Because we want your answers to be objective, which means that the answer doesn't depend on what you like or what you prefer, but it is an unbiased answer to that question. So let me give you the brief overview of all of the steps in the process. First, you need to come up with a purpose. Why am I doing this project? Second, you need to come up with a problem. What am I doing in this project? After that, you're going to come up with a couple of things. First, you're going to do some research on this question. What have other people done? What have other people thought through? Has anybody else done an experiment on this? Then you're going to come up with a hypothesis, which is an educated guess as to what is going to happen in this project. After you've come up with your hypothesis, this is when you're going to start designing a procedure. Now, the procedure is kind of like a recipe or instructions to follow. That way, if I decided to do your experiment, I could replicate the same exact thing. After you've done your experiment, that's when you take the data that you've created. Remember, data is what you've measured during the experiment. You take your data and you make it visible. First, you're going to put it in a chart, and then you're going to graph it. After you've graphed it, you're going to interpret that. I'm looking at your experiment and I'm confused. That's when I go to your interpretation. What do these numbers mean? Once you've given me an interpretation of your experiment, you're going to write a conclusion. What happened during this time? At the end of all this, you're going to explain to me, hey, what worked and what didn't work? What could I do in the future that maybe would change this experiment a little bit? Then you're going to create a display and you're going to bring it into school, and the judges and I and Mrs. Walters will be looking over the projects and to see the answers. So excited. See you soon.